Commas are tricky, and it is essential that you know how to use commas on the language section of the SAT. In this video, I will teach you one of the rules for comma usage that is tested on the language part of the SAT. Hey there, I'm Janie. I've been a private SAT tutor for quite some time now. If you need tips, strategies, and knowledge about the SAT, you're at the right place. I mentioned in a previous video that comma usage is one of the most common SAT questions in the grammar section of the test. And it's not enough to just think that you know what sounds right or where you think the natural pauses belong in the sentence. I can't stress this enough. You need to know the rules for comma usage. If you haven't watched my other video on comma usage with descriptive phrases, you definitely should. When it comes to titles like movie critic or plant cell biologist or chemical compound, or even humble ones like my teacher, you may be under the false impression that they always require a comma. Well, not necessarily. Let me explain. On the SAT, there are only two correct options. There's either 2 commas before and after the name or title, or no commas at all. So basically, it's double or nothing. So how do you know which one is correct? Well, there are 2 questions you can ask yourself. One is the part between the commas essential to the sentence? And the second one is the title referring to one of many or the only one? Non-essential clauses are phrases between commas that are not essential to the meaning or understanding of the sentence or paragraph. What does that mean? That if you remove that part that's between the commas, the sentence or paragraph will still make sense. However, if you remove that part that is in between the commas and the sentence now doesn't make sense or lacks clarity, then it is essential to the sentence, but without the commas. Now, the second way you can determine whether it is necessary to include commas or not is to ask yourself if it is the only one or one of many. This honestly is my preferred litmus test because it works on most of the problems I've seen on the SAT. So for example, if I were to say, my cat, Kiska, since she's my only cat, then I would use commas to set apart the name Kiska. My cat, Kiska, because she is the only cat. However, if I had many cats, then I would just say my cat Kiska without a comma to separate it. Let's look at an example of each using the same person in a similar title to stress the difference between them. Let's look at this first sentence. In this one, if we removed the title, the 44th President of the United States, the sentence would still make complete sense. And the title, the 44th President of the United States, refers to only one person. In the second example, there is no need for commas because if we added commas to set apart and then removed the name Barack Obama, the sentence wouldn't make sense since the title President could refer to a number of people. So it would not be clear who we are talking about or even what country we're talking about. Let's take a look at a couple examples from the question bank. Okay, so first of all, you don't even have to read the entire paragraph. You can just go straight to the sentence. Engineer Erkka Frankberg of Tampere University in Finland used the chemical compound aluminum oxide to make a glassy solid that can blah, blah, blah. The question is whether aluminum oxide is the only chemical compound or one of many. And we also know that it's either going to have 2 commas or none at all, which means that A and B are eliminated, and the aluminum oxide is one of many. It's not the only chemical compound, therefore it would require no commas, and the answer is D. In the second example, we're also going to focus just on the sentence. In a pivotal 2007 article, plant cell biologist Yuri Lee showed that lipid molecules called blah, blah, blah. So here, the question is whether Yuri Lee is the only plant cell biologist or one of many. And we also know that it has to have double commas or no commas. So we're going to eliminate A and B, which only have 1. And because Yuri Lee is obviously not the only plant cell biologist, but one of many, no commas are required, and the answer is C. All right, now try it out for yourself. Answer these 2 questions on your own in the comments.